Oh, at the beginning of this week, and actually probably for the last little bit, we've noticed like our almost 2-year-old son Sammy, he's the first one to get sick in our family. The very first one. He's always got like this snotty nose. It's like green, just starts running out. And you're like, what in the world? But we go to the Y. It goes to the schools. It goes to the Y. It comes to us. And then it hit me. It hit me. I started getting like postnasal drip. And then I was like, nope, I can't afford this. Gotta start getting some medicine. I'm pretty quick on jumping on those basic medicines. But like I knew to go to the store to look on the top shelf in Walmart. And there's this Fast Max generic version, and I would grab that because I know on the back when I look at the ingredients, it's designed to treat what I have. And sure enough, as I start to take the medicine, all of a sudden I start to feel better, right? But have you ever like been to a doctor and then they prescribed you a medicine and it never seemed to help? Like I could probably think early on when we were trying to treat the flu, right? Let me prescribe all this medicine. Then we discover that the flu is actually a virus and it doesn't do very well for that. So we actually have to treat the symptoms, but you never really get at the problem because we don't, just what we have to do, right? As I was reading this week, right, Solomon is gonna begin his experiment. Last week we heard like the end of the story. Hey, guess what? Everything sucks, right? Everything ends in dust and disappointment, right? We talked about that. I'm gonna give you the punchline. He's not a good writer. He's not a good writer, right? Right? If he was writing Grey's Anatomy, he would tell you like season 21 before at the beginning. Yes, Meredith ends up with McDreamy. That's what happens. We know it, and then he dies, and there goes. Sorry if you haven't watched that. I just spoiled it for you. Perfect. But odds are you weren't going to watch it to begin with. But here's the thing. He says it at the beginning. You're going to walk down this road. And at the end of it, everything is meaningless. It's like you hugged a cloud. It's like you caught this bubble and you opened your hand and there was nothing. You breathed out on a cold day, swipe. Or Solomon's own, it's like you had this net and you pursued the wind and you tried to catch it and you just look like a fool because you can't catch the wind. That's the feeling that we get at the end. But you see, when Solomon approaches this, he's gonna move through it, and he's gonna tell us something about what he discovers. Imagine if you had the wisdom and understanding to hit every experience from every angle better. Imagine if you could sit down with somebody so you didn't have to go through that pain. This is your opportunity to sit down with somebody. And what I'm going to say, he's the pharmacist. And you're going to sit down with the pharmacist and talk about your symptoms. Talk about what's going on. Your doctor's giving you the diagnosis. Solomon gave us the diagnosis. It's a world without God. And now he says, okay, before you take this pill, let me tell you what it's not going to do. Before you take this pill, let me tell you what it's not going to do for your symptoms. Before you take this pill, what it's not going to do for what you're really searching for. Because you see, in our current cultural moment, and the big overriding thought for today is this, is that medicating meaninglessness will never address your heart's desire for more. Medicating by choosing the things of the world that it has to offer, the pill that it offers up to you. This will cure what ails you. Our pharmacist is going to say, it's not designed to do that. You're taking a placebo. If you don't know what a placebo is, it's just fake medicine. It does nothing. And the world is going to offer us nothing but placebos. And God's got the real deal. If we walk through life with a focus that is not on him as the ultimate pursuit of our heart, our worldview, everything that shapes how we interact with the world, if we take God out of the equation, we'll put something in its place and it will always come back void. Every single time, without fail. Medicating meaninglessness will never address your heart's desire for more. As Solomon directs his heart away from the ways of the world, he can never find what's going to ultimately satisfy him. So he does it. Bad writer and everything. And he starts us off in verse 1, and he does it again, right? We're going to start chapter 2 the same way we started the whole book. I'm going to spoil it before we even get started. And he says, is focusing on pleasure of any kind will never be enough. Focusing on pleasure of any kind will never be enough. So we got some defining to do to start off with. So let's read verse 1. It says, I said to myself. I like other versions that say, I said in my heart. Because we have a conversation with ourselves. You talk to you more than you talk to anybody else. And more than anybody else talks to you. I don't care how many podcasts you listen to, how much worship you listen to, how much other, you talk to yourself more than anybody else. And you're not crazy, it's everybody. Some people talk to themselves more than others. We talked about it Thursday night. Guys, sometimes we're staring on space. What do you think about? Nothing. And this is glorious. Don't interrupt my nothingness. And the ladies were like, how? How do you think about nothing? Don't ask me, but Solomon's not thinking about nothing. Solomon is literally talking to himself, consulting the wisdom that God had given him to say, how can I find an answer for this moment? And he says, I said to myself, go ahead. I will test you. I will try everything from every way, no matter what the resources cost me, no matter anything. I have the ability to check it out, and I'm going to do it. With pleasure, we automatically go to the sensual side of it, of pleasure, right? But I love that part of it was the satisfaction of every sense. Not just physical, mental, emotional, like touch, smell, taste. Get all your senses in here. It's like you walked into a really good kitchen. You see it, you smell it, you walk over, stick your finger in it, you taste it. It creates a momentum in you to want to pick up the whole spoon. He's literally going after every sense and enjoy what is good, because here's the things of this world are not bad. God didn't create junk, but he didn't create junk to fill the void of your life. I can't pedestal coffee. It may get me going, but it ain't going to sustain me. It's going to drop me every single day. And you know what? The more I drink it, the less of effect it has. So I need what? More. And then I need more. And I didn't need. And then I'm drinking a whole pot. And I'm like, I got nothing out of this. What's going on? And so I'm twitching over here. But it'll never be enough. It'll never be enough. And he tells us that. We don't take these good things and make them God things. And he gives us the answer at the end, but it turned out to be futile. I told you last week to underline that word. If you haven't underlined it in your Bible, now's your chance to pick it up, because it's coming 30 some more times. Underline that word. There's some words we have to know. Because pleasure does not cease to be good no matter what you do. Pleasure will not bring the lasting meaning and fulfillment you're looking for. Gratifying your senses isn't going to do it. Good things will never give you meaning, worth, dignity, and value. It can't happen. So what does Solomon do? Solomon now begins his grand experiment. He's trying to medicate the meaninglessness that has gripped him at this point. I think of him in his end days going, God, I did it your way, God. Now I'm going to try everything. And he kind of says it at the end of chapter 1. He's like, I tested wisdom and knowledge, madness and folly. I did it all. And what does he do? On the journey, we have to realize that every day we are tempted to medicate meaninglessness rather than deal with the source of the problem. Every day. Every day you're going to be tempted to medicate, to treat the symptoms rather than the actual problem. I can remember working as an athletic trainer, and people would get hurt, and they're like, well, I just want to do, they would come tell me, I just want to do this and this and this because it'll make me better. And I'm looking, I'm going, did you get that from Google? Yeah, ChatGPT was a thing then. See, I can't say that because that would be the thing now. Now, where did you, WebMD? It told me if I just do this, then I'm good. But then they don't understand the complexity of what's going on in their body. And that there's actually, like, we have to go through all these things. We have to do all this stuff. You see, we want the quick fix. We don't want to do the hard work of the heart. We talk about it all the time. The heart of the issue is the issue of the heart. So Solomon's going to say medication is not going to work, and we're going to pick it up here in a second, but he's going to do 4 means of medicating the monotony. 4 means. He's going to check out 4. We got more coming. We're just going to do 4 this week. 4 means by which we medicate ourselves to the meaninglessness of this world. And the first is laughter. Go to verse 2. I said about laughter, it's madness. And about pleasure, what does it accomplish? And like, so you've seen those people. Our world does not lack comedians. Even people that think they're comedians. But like, here's the thing, and I'm not going to stay here long, but like, think about it like this. Laughter is great. It's a great medicine. It can distract us from some painful moments. And I think Solomon's experiencing this. He's like, man, I went to this comedy club and it was great. He had me rolling on the floor. But after an hour and a half, you know what happened? The curtain's closed. And he walks out into the arms of the same emptiness he left when he walked in. It's laughing rather than addressing the elephant in the room. You've met those people. Maybe that's you. I'm sorry if that's you. I stepped on your toes first thing. I'm sorry. But like maybe you try to laugh it off because it's a defense mechanism rather than actually having to say, hey, this sucks. Hey, I'm hurting. Rather than using our words to communicate to somebody that loves us, so that puts us in the right space, not the wrong space. Don't just bare our soul to anybody. We're bearing our soul to people that love us. That's why family groups are so important. Like, hey, I'm not okay. And rather than laugh it off, I'm actually going to be vulnerable with you. I want to open up just a little bit and initiate a conversation. I didn't throw it in there, but write it down. Ecclesiastes 7:3, James 4:9. Like where a heart, man, it's better to mourn in a moment that deserves mourning than try to laugh your way out of it and hope that it'll never hit you. How about we be honest with ourselves as the people of God and say, man, this sucks. You can't distract yourself from a meaningless life. Laughter cannot erase that heart level despair. Because I told you this is not a cheery book, right? So I have to be honest with you. Like we can't laugh ourselves out of that place. We can't comedian ourselves out of that place. We can't find the funniest people on earth and get ourselves out of that place. There's not enough of them. One of my favorite comedians growing up was Robin Williams, and he couldn't get himself out of that place. We need a better medication. So then he moves from laughter to substances. He said, okay, that didn't work. Let's try this one. And he pulls up to the bar. I explored with my mind, my heart, right? The pool of wine on my body, my mind still guiding me with wisdom and how to grasp folly until I could see what is good for people to do under heaven during the few days of their life. Under heaven, again, underline that. That's without God. Take God out of your worldview. Right? So I explored with my mind. So commentators, like, they'll debate. Did he get drunk? Did he not get drunk? It says right there, he's guiding with wisdom. But then he says how to grasp folly. You can't grasp folly unless you actually put yourself in it. So, like, I'm of the persuasion that he was the connoisseur of fine wines. Fine wines from all over the world. Nothing at your table will ever match what Solomon engaged in. He paired it perfectly with his meal. He had a palate like nobody else, where he could enjoy it fully. And guess what he found? Not enough. So he said, all right, I'm going to be the frat boy that everything is prescripted in media. I'm going to be that person. Grasp folly wholly. And see what it has to offer. And you know what he found? Same thing some of us have probably found. That at the bottom of the bottle, our feelings were waiting for us again. That emptiness was waiting for us. That despair was waiting for us. Man, it wasn't alcohol. Maybe it was pills. Maybe it was marijuana. Maybe it was some other substance. It's not just alcohol. We can broaden out right now. Anything that comes into your body that alters your mindset, how about that? Is a substance that is waiting to rob you of actually dealing with the real issues of life. And Solomon's like, it's not going to do it. There's no way that it can do it. And all the while, the underlying assumption is we know how to deal with our problems best. Solomon's taken wisdom itself out of the equation. He's got his wisdom, but he took wisdom, capital W, God, out of the equation. He said, I can't think my way out of this box. I can't numb my way out of this box. Maybe you find yourself there today. I don't want to presume to know anything. But I can tell you from Solomon's perspective what is at the end of that road. It's dust, disappointment, and we'll get to it in a minute. There's despair and distress and a whole list of other D words. Destruction, hey. That you are headed for. And we want to, I don't want you to hear me beating you up right now. I want you to look me dead in the eye. We don't want you to go down that path. We literally want to take our arms and link them in yours and walk with you in a better direction. Because the whole purpose of the morose atmosphere of Ecclesiastes is that you would pick a different way. I want to show you, I want to foretell your future in a biblical way so that you would choose something different. And I don't want you to go through it alone. That's one of the ways I just want you to connect, say, I need help with this. And I will find the right people to put you and help you go in the right direction if I can't do it myself. Amen. So he moves from substances, right, to the next one. He moves to success. Now, in the American dream, this is front and center, right? And he's not going to leave any sense undone here. So let's start in verse 4, go to verse 8. It says, I increase my achievements. Achievements. Like, we're an achievement-driven culture. We got a checklist of things. If we don't get this done, we're not successful today, tomorrow, this week, next year. achievements. It's going to bookend this section from verses 4 to 11. My works, my doing. It's me focused. And we're going to pick up some more of that in a second where he says, I built houses and planted vineyards for myself. I made gardens and parks for myself. Myself. I planted every kind of fruit tree in them. I constructed reservoirs for who? Myself. From which to irrigate a grove of flourishing trees. Not just one tree. He got a whole grove. He got a forest. Like he got all the land and he's got all this. I planted all these forests and I watered everything. Like, and I love the picture that this brings in, because if you think back to the Genesis chapter 1, who was planting all the fruit trees? Who was planting groves? Who was watering them? Who was doing all of this? God. A lot of the same words used here are used all the way back in Genesis 1. Where Solomon, you can feel him trying to create this utopic moment where all of him would be at peace in this perfect place that he created. And that's only happened one time and we screwed it up. So you try to do this. Man, I got to build that house with those fixtures in this color, with this kind of landscape. I got this lawnmower. I got this truck in the driveway. I live on this cul-de-sac, in this city, in this town, with this job, with these many kids, with this 401k, funded by this salary, in this social group, at this kind of church that I think will fit me best, with the perfect in-laws, with my family the right way. And we're moving the pieces around, trying to create this perfect picture where as soon as we step into it, guess what we did? We messed everything up. Because even if all that was perfect, as soon as you step in, I ain't. We're all sinners, and it's going to bust up. So we do it with our gardens. We do it with our manicured landscape. We do it with our efforts to meet the needs of people. Sometimes if we take God out of it, remember, this is a view without God. We can serve, we can have philanthropic dreams for this place, but if we take God out of the equation, it's useless. Because what we're really trying to do is we're focusing on a need inside of us. We're trying to fill at the expense of other people. And Solomon's here trying to build these things and plant these things and do these things because it's not for them. He's trying to fill the meaninglessness that he has walked away from, because we know how the first 20 years went, where he was walking with God and building a temple. Yeah, you see the seeds of it there. I'll take 7 years building God's house. I'll take 13 years building mine. It's not enough. Our hobbies, our careers, they were never meant to be God things. We can't replace him. They will never hold up who we are, no matter how much we try. No good thing. Standing at the door, greeting people as they come in, will not sustain you. It'll actually drain you. Singing up here, serving in the community, going to work on a regular basis. I'm just going to be honest. There's times where it's monotony. Even if you love what you do, there's days that feel like I'm on the hamster wheel. Retirement can feel like I'm on a hamster wheel. I'm just waiting for the tombstone. And that's not a good place to feel like you're at. You don't want to feel like that. You want to sit here and go, God, I know you have a purpose for this season of life. And the only way that I'm going to grasp hold of it is if I just run to you and grasp hold of you. It's not about the world that I create. It's not the career for the next 30 years. God, you have me in this moment for this reason, and God, would you reveal that to me? Put him back where he belongs. Then he goes to the fun one, right? He goes, keep going. I've amassed silver and gold, business acumen. He goes to sex. I looked around the room before we started. There's nobody under the age of 15, 16 in here, so we're okay, right? Okay. If you're not, please, if you need to go, go. But let's talk about it. Solomon's sexual experience is unmatched. We talked about it in the last series. 700 wives. Not one, not two, not three. 700. And 300 concubines. Go read back in the last series and see what it says. There's only 365 days in a year. I just want to throw that out there. Do the math. But think about it. There's nobody that can compare to his understanding of what intimacy without God would do for somebody. From all over the world. He's got the t-shirt. Been there, done that. But here's the thing, is he's not beating us up with it. I'm not trying to be like crass with it, but like here's the thing. It's like we a lot of times think we know better. Nah, this is a different time. The Bible's this old book. It's so old they had an entire book that people couldn't read until they were 16 because it was so descriptive of that intimacy. Song of Solomon. Jewish boys could not read it until a certain age because of that. God designed sex, so he probably understands what it was designed to do. And what he did was he said, let me give you some boundaries to where you won't take a good thing and make it a God thing. You actually make it something that honors and glorifies me, that is never about your identity, never questions your worth, never sets you up for failure. Never. So Solomon can talk about his singleness. I'm not going to limit him just to his married life. He was single at one point. So I believe in his wisdom, he would agree with Paul that singleness is a gift. So if you're single in here, look, if single means you're not married. I don't care if you're engaged, I don't care if you're dating, you're not married. You don't have a ring on your finger, you're single. Because here's the thing, you have a path that God has designed for you to run, and don't let anybody tell you you're a second-class citizen of the kingdom of God because you're single. Because you have in the words of Paul, an unhindered devotion to him if you'll give it to him. He has a purpose for this moment. It's okay to desire marriage. It's okay to want it and to pursue people with a godly view. But here's the thing, don't make it ultimate. I'm an open book up here. I made this mistake in my, when was that? Late 20s. Had to year, 2015. There you go, decade ago. But I had good godly men that on the backside of it where I was left holding an empty bag, that I was able to come out and go, yeah, that was an idol. That was an idol. I can look at my journal and read it to you. But it's this, God goes, yeah, because you're praying for this, and I know what I'm going to give you, so I need to take this away and let you feel that so you'll actually seek me in the right way, to pursue dating and the right way within the boundaries that God's created, to get to know people within the context of a group of people that can look into your relationship and go, yeah, you're right, you're walking the right direction. That's a good person. Before I ever go any deeper, if the family sees something wrong, give him the boot. It ain't worth it. Trust somebody other than your honeymoon era experiences. And as you get deeper, it's bring that group of friends closer. This is what Solomon's going, nope, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. But I'm telling you the opposite side of it. Let that relationship be open to accountability. When you operate in marriage, you're not going to have 700, 300. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that's a recipe for disaster. Marriage is hard enough without bringing 999 other people into it. Let's be honest. And you can look at me like, did you really just say? Yes, because that's every married person in here. It's not rainbows, butterflies, gumdrops. like it's work. And Solomon tried that, well, this is work, so I'll go to, and this is work, so I'll go, and this is, and he just kept going, digging and digging and digging. Kids ain't going to solve it. They're going to amplify because we're adding more sinners into the mix. They're a blessing. We're charged to raise them to the glory of God, but they will test you, just as Solomon tested everything else. Widow and widowing. I'm going for the whole gamut, guys, because Solomon literally tried everything from every angle. And to find God's purpose in that season of sorrow, even as my grandma is in this place, sans COVID, 4 years, where I can remember the loneliness and the emptiness of losing your other half, literal other half. Grandfather went across the nation one time, and my uncle said he was lost. Like he didn't know what to do because she wasn't there, because she did some things that that's my other half. Like, so there's a moment where you're going to be in that space where you need to literally cling to all that God has for you. To see that this pain is not wasted. That even here, there's somebody right behind you that needs you to walk with them. Guys, those 4 medications, laughter, substances, and sex. I didn't even read the scripture. I gathered male and female singers myself and concubines. Keep going to the end of the verse. Skip the next 2. Whereas he finishes out the book. When I considered all that I had accomplished and what I had labored to achieve, I found everything. Somebody say everything. How much? Everything that I worked for was futile and a pursuit of the wind. There was nothing to be gained under the sun. It's simply this, that all of our labors amount to nothing if they don't have eternal significance. He defined that for us way back when, right? Labor as things that we work at that profit us after death. We got to roll. The third thing is that death is undefeated. Let's read 12 through 17 quickly. It says, then I turned to consider wisdom, madness, folly. For what a king's successor will be like, he will do what has already been done. And I realized that there is an advantage to wisdom over folly, like the advantage of light over darkness. The wise person has eyes in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. Yet I also knew that one fate comes to them all, and that is death. We'll come back to those verses in a second. So I said to myself, what happens to the fool also happened to me. Why then have I been so overly wise? Because without God, me being wise in this moment doesn't matter, because I got to give all my good things to somebody else. And I don't know if they're going to be smart or not. They could waste everything. And I said to myself, this is futile, for just like a fool, there's no lasting remembrance. I'm not even going to be remembered. We talked about it last week. And there's no lasting remembrance of the wise, since the days come, both will be forgotten. How is it that a wise person dies just like the fool? Fool lives, let's flip it on its head. A fool can live 90 years, but why did the wise person die at age 35? It makes no sense. I made all the right decisions, I checked all the right boxes, but I still got the diagnosis. Because we live in a broken world where broken things happen. We're not guaranteed perfection until we get to that day. But how we walk in that moment is what matters. That wisdom is going to come back at the end. But I want to move to point 4 real quick, where it says soul level desperation should be expected when medicating fails. Right? You heard it then, he distressed, but he said, I hated all of my work that I labored at under the sun, because, man, I must leave it to the one who comes after me. And who knows whether he'll be wise or a fool, yet he will take over all my work that I labored and skillfully under the sun. This too is futile, so I began to give myself over to despair concerning all my work that I labored at under the sun. When there is a person whose work has done with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, he must give a portion of it to a person who has not worked for it. This is futile. and a great wrong. For what does a person get when all his work and all his efforts that labors under the sun, for all his days are filled with grief, and his occupation is sorrowful. Even at night his mind does not rest. This too is futile. Do you hear his voice? It's like you see his mind running at night. And how many of us have had sleepless nights because our mind won't shut up? And no matter what kind of muzzle we try to put on it, it just knock, 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 knock. Like no matter what Solomon did, he could see in his wisdom that the generations to follow him, if we took God out of the equation, are going to repeat the same atrocities. They're going to repeat the same mistakes. They're going to repeat the same injustice. They're going to repeat the same taking advantage of people. They're going to repeat the same stepping out on their families. They're going to repeat the same fill in the blank. Man, he's painting this like picture that's all black. There ain't no color. I don't know if you feel that or not. But that's his mind, and his mind won't let it go because he has nowhere to deposit it. He's taken God out of the equation. So then he ends as only Solomon knows how to do, and he says, living wisely is the only way to truly enjoy this life and have eternal significance. It's the only way. There's nothing better for a person than to eat, drink, and enjoy his work. And I've seen that even this is from who? God. It's one of the few times he's going to appear in the book. It's from God. It's in his hand. Because who can eat and who can enjoy life apart from him? It's a rhetorical question, remember. There's 30 some of them. The answer is in the positive here. Nobody, no, in the negative. Nobody can enjoy it apart from him. For the person who is pleasing in his sight, walking in wisdom, he gives wisdom, knowledge, and joy. Not qualified by situations. He gives joy. But to the sinner, he gives the task of gathering and accumulating in order to give to the one who's pleasing in God's sight. Whew. That's crazy, right? That's just crazy talk. I'm just going to throw it out there. This too is futile and a pursuit of the wind. Medicating the monotony right will never bring you to the meaningful impact you were made to have for the kingdom. You pursue all these other things. You may get stuff on this side of heaven. You may have the house, you may have the family, you may have the friends, you may have the job, the car, the 401k. You may be sitting pretty, but when you get to the end, all you're going to have is God going, depart from me, I never knew you. Because you missed the point. And we've all missed the point at times. We all continue to miss the point at times. But he said it back in 13 and 14. And I think I have those for you there, Peter, in a couple slides, where he says, and I realize that there is an advantage to wisdom over folly, like the advantage of light over darkness. The wise person has eyes in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. And the thought is, have you ever tried to walk around with your eyes closed? You're going to get hurt. But if your eyes are wide open, you can see what's coming. And wisdom would say, I teach the next generation how to walk in the light so that they're not walking with their eyes closed. Because then that's the only way I am sure that what I'm handing off like a baton in a race is to somebody who knows how to run the race well. I take responsibility for where the baton lands. firmly in the hand of a generation that has been equipped and prepared to engage with their cultural moment. This is why discipleship is so important. Not just family groups, but moving deeper, guys with guys, girls with girls, like where we're doing life and we're getting in there. Man, what in the world is going on in my life right now that I need to deal with? Hey, help me out. Sister, help me out. Brother, help me out. Because I know I don't see me. If we're going to move away from the wrong medications to take the grace and truth of the gospel, we're going to have to do some examining of ourselves. See what medications we are taking that are placebos. They're not doing anything. I keep taking it, but maybe if I take 2, maybe if I take 3, maybe if I take a whole bottle. But man, I still feel it. How can we come to the table with the great pharmacist who says, my burden is easy. My yoke is light. Medicating meaninglessness will never address the heart's desire for more. Only God can.